Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review today. I am going to be reviewing Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe some of the other majors. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not a professional. Do your own research. Okay, so let's look at BTC USD on the 1 week. Right now, it looks pretty ugly. There's high sell volume coming in, and these are not bullish candle closes. In general, I've long talked about how I wanted to see Bitcoin find a big range. I don't know where this range is going to be established, but in general, I want to see Bitcoin form a base. And a base is usually a period of accumulation where price ranges and ping pongs between two levels. And generally speaking, this base is what is needed for big moves up. And I like Bitcoin. I want to see Bitcoin go to 100,000 later this year. And in order for it to do that, I believe that a base needs to be established. So I would love to see Bitcoin find a base. I don't know where this base will be, but yeah, let's see. So here it is on the weekly, as I said. The next area is up 28K. This was the last point of support. If this gets tapped again, then I'm looking for 24K. And if that fails, then the obvious 20K level is there. BTC USD on the 1 day here. We'll get rid of some of this. Okay, so what are we looking at here? This area in general is the support area. There is clear demand in the 28Ks. 28,000-ish. This is the clear demand area where price has found support several times. With that said, this area is getting tapped several times right now. And as I always emphasize, the more times that areas are tapped, the weaker they get. So if this area breaks, then I like seeing the 24Ks as being kind of like the next level up. There is some support at 26K right here. This is like a daily demand area, where if you go down to this lower time frame charts, you're going to see some other areas there. But I'm not sure how much support this is going to really have. I mean, it's not that much farther from 28K. So I would think that price would find more liquidity down in the 24Ks. So if this area does fall out, this 28K area, and it's looking pretty ugly in general, then I would not be at all surprised to see 24K at all. And I think this would be a good spot to start buying. I mean, I always emphasize just dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin in general. I think that an investor strategy is just way better for 99% of people. But if you actually want to start trading it, you know, this area right here looks like it's getting tapped a lot, and I'm not so sure how Bitcoin looks on lower time frame charts. So right now, generally speaking, I mean, this isn't super bullish. High time frame, of course, you know, Bitcoin is highly bullish on the weekly and 3-day and all that. But if we're looking at this on lower time frame charts, like the 4-hour and the 1-hour, this doesn't really look super bullish. I mean, there's really high sell volume coming in. Oops. Really high sell volume coming in, and this support area is just getting tapped over and over and over again. So as I say before, I mean, I did another video too on support and resistance, but when you see areas tapped over and over again, it's going to look like a dropping a rubber ball. And that's what you're seeing right now is, look, first big reaction here, lower reaction, fall through. So that's what's going to happen here. If this keeps getting tapped, this 29K area, it's gonna fall through, and that's not really great. It's, you know, context wise, like Bitcoin is still fine. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go to like $10,000 and this run is just completely over with, but it could very well just find a trading range where it's trading between 40,000 and 26,000 or 22,000 or 20,000. I don't know where that range is, but that could be like the next step here, is where Bitcoin just basically ranges here for a few months, and that'd be totally fine with me. There's going to be volatility, of course, but this would allow altcoins to flourish. It would allow Bitcoin to establish a very big base for later 2021, and yeah, I mean, it's a reset period is totally healthy, in a bullish accumulation standpoint. So, in general, what's my bias? My bias is that Bitcoin is bullish on super high time frame charts. I mean, can't call this bearish at all. This is not a bearish chart. On the 1 day, it is looking bearish and lower time frames, 4 hour and 1 hour and lower. Those are all looking bearish, but bearish again, contextually, is just that it will go to 26K, and this is still a bullish market cycle, and it's a bullish trend. But in the short term, I would not at all be surprised to see 26K get tapped. I thought personally that Bitcoin would grind up a little higher, and you know, there's some like areas that up here, but the problem is that this liquidity already got tapped right here at 37K, you know, kind of like a bearish retest right here. So it might not make it, you know, I thought it would make it a little higher, but maybe not. But overall, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin on high time frame charts, but low time frame, it's looking a little scary. So unless you're an expert scalper, I would personally stay away from trading Bitcoin. It's very choppy right now. Shorting around 37K might be a decent option, or 38K. But again, it's very choppy price action right now. So unless you're an expert scalper, I personally would just look to buy dips at the 26K and 24K areas. And I think that's just like a better strategy for most people. Okay, so let's look at ETH USD. ETH USD looks better than Bitcoin. However, as the entire market is correlated to Bitcoin, generally speaking, ETH will pull back if Bitcoin pulls back. And that's just almost always like the case. You're not going to really see ETH pumping huge if Bitcoin is falling. You'll see ETH outperform BTC when they're both moving. You know, Bitcoin will go up like 2% and ETH will go up like 10. That's totally like acceptable and like standard. But generally speaking, if Bitcoin is pulling back huge, then ETH USD will as well. So what are we looking at here? This was the obvious swing high at 1425. Obvious rejection first go. Pretty standard stuff. There's still going to be a lot of sell liquidity here, initially on the first go. And price is pulling back now. So where are we looking at here? 1200 is kind of like the first level up. After that, weekly close here at 1000, a psychological number where price dipped down before. And after that, you know, 950 will have some, and 800. 800 would come if Bitcoin goes to like $20,000. Then I fully expect $800 to come for ETH USD. Never say never with crypto, of course, but $1,000 would be a solid buy in my opinion, and it already pretty much was there. ETH USD on the daily. I mean, this chart still looks better than Bitcoin, personally. you're seeing these kind of big moves up, and then they're kind of like getting retraced pretty quickly. But in general, you know, ETH USD looks better than Bitcoin. However, with that said, it's still very choppy price action, and I'm not sure if I would necessarily scalp this. I would prefer just looking to buy dips around 1,000 or so and lower if it comes. I think that this is still like a high probability that ETH goes to 2,000 within the next few weeks or months. You know, you can use some trend lines and stuff like that, but it looks in the short term that 1,200 area is going to get tapped. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see something like that. So, you know, that's kind of my bias right now, is just that ETH it's bullish on high time frame charts. I do think it's going to hit 2,000 eventually. With that said, Bitcoin is looking kind of shaky right now, and because Bitcoin is looking shaky, I believe that ETH USD is also going to potentially suffer. So these areas are kind of like my areas of interest, kind of like 1,200, 1,000. You know, kind of like this. These two levels are kind of my next step. And of course, you can see like it's quite possible ETH just goes like this and just keeps finding support. I mean, it is making higher lows and higher highs here, so you can't necessarily call this bearish by any means. It's just the context of the market is that everything, you know, will almost always follow Bitcoin. So in general, still choppy conditions for ETH USD. I personally would stay away from scalping unless you're an expert scalper, and just look to buy dips. 1,200 should provide some support initially, and you know that level has been interacted with quite a bit. So ETH BTC, I've long said has looked really, really good, and I still contend that. I mean, price was able to break out of this 037 area. Let's see if it can actually hold. Not quite sure yet, but I actually fully expect this to outperform Bitcoin. Volume profile wise, we can scroll down a little bit. Well, that's not really good. Sorry. Anyways, usually there's a price void. I'm almost certain there's a price void here between 037 and 055, and I expect price to fill this gap pretty quickly. Insanely good buy volume coming in, and these levels are pretty clear for ETH BTC on the high time frame charts. I feel pretty confident it's going to go to at least 0.055, and again, there's not a whole lot of trading volume, you know, in these areas. So I'm expecting this to even go even higher personally in March and April. I think that ETH will be pretty strong in general. So I'm very bullish on ETH BTC, and with that said, price is currently, you know, kind of interacting with this resistance area. A buy at the 037 region could be decent in general, like the former range high, and after that there's also some other levels as well, kind of just like 033, you know. So yeah, I'm still pretty bullish on this though. Like it still looks like a really good chart. LTC, I did a video on Litecoin, so I'm not really gonna go over this. Actually, I'm just gonna skip it. I did a video on Litecoin yesterday, so check it out. Very quickly, here's my link USD chart. This is highly bullish. I'm using this fib extension here. It looks like 25 was pretty much exact top. I'm very bullish on Link in general. This had a period of accumulation for, let's see, it was like, yeah, 130 days. So if you want to just basically look at, you know, this range high, and it got tapped a few times, over a few month period when price is basically doing a bullish accumulation period. You don't want to short these types of situations, generally speaking. It reminds me of Band in the sense that this is just a bullish accumulation, and price is now unwinding. So I feel very confident that price is going to hit the $30 region fairly short order. But Link USD is just very bullish coin in general. Okay, so I think that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck.